On the show.
I did. I was just passing by it entirely by accident. Came in here to get out of the rain.
You happen to be well dressed also.
Yeah.
Good man. Well, you saw the president went to Iraq over the Christmas holiday. Well, here's how some in the media responded, including a national security analyst. Watch.
Presidential trips like this are often to tell the military how much their service matters to the country and why their ongoing mission is so critical to the safety and security of the American people. This was a little bit different. The president seems to have confused in some way this troop visit with a campaign rally by raising things like the border wall and things that he's done for them.
Was the president confused, Mark?
No, I think these guys are confused. Look, I realize everything is a crime in America. It's a very, very litigious society. But the idea that soldiers in these thankless camps, one of our allied prime ministers said to me, he went to them, you've been to them, I've been to them. They're like crusader forts. You're in there, you can't go outside. Outside, all kinds of people want to kill you. It's actually very psychologically stressful, actually, just being in those crusader forts. And the idea that someone wants to accuse you of a breach of military regulations because you brought a hat to the president of the United States. Why don't we get Robert Mueller? I think let's double his staff and give him another 6 years and see whether Putin colluded with Trump to fill Iraq full of MAGA hats. And actually, I'm in favor of dropping MAGA hats on ISIS and killing them that way.
What is wrong?
What is wrong?
I am too.
What is wrong with media? So the Stars and Stripes, as you know, is a military press thing. Their first line of the article about this, leading their website, it wasn't a campaign rally, but airmen here weren't shy about showing their support for President Trump and wife Melania. That's where we're putting right in the middle of it. But yet, as we saw in that clip from CNN, they choose to create a narrative for it.
Yeah, no, and you see, the way that first sentence is written, we were talking about the stress on the troops. So now it's like a Christmas event, and a soldier is supposed to calibrate his enthusiasm for the event between appropriate respect for the commander-in-chief, and at a certain point on the meter, it crosses over into partisan cheerleading for a particular political party. This is crazy. And what kind of training? Do we put our troops through training for that? To calibrate the point at which your enthusiasm for the president crosses over from commander-in-chief to Republican partisanship.
I'll tell you this, having been at events like that, all that your commander says is be respectful.
Right.
Be respectful. And a lot of troops that didn't agree with President Obama when he was president, they were respectful. In this case, their respect emanated itself in gratitude, in love of a president. What's wrong with that? No. And I think the idea of complaining about everything, making an issue about it. I mean, if I had to, I'd say this goes back to George III. I don't want to bring up unpleasantness, but in other... You just did.
But in Canada, they distinguish between the head of government and the head of state. So you fight for Queen and country. So if you show enthusiasm for the Queen, it doesn't mean, you want to run on the Queen ticket in the election when you get back.
A little too off space here with the American thing.
No, but I'm just saying, I think it's a constitutional problem rather than blaming it on the troops, which is ridiculous.
I think that we're all going to need a box of tissues soon, because Vanity Fair ran a story saying that Democrats don't like to be told who to vote for. Obama has flirted with Beto and other potential 2020 rivals, and Joe Biden is very upset. It seems like the former president is leaving behind Joe Biden as he pursues newer and younger candidates.
Well, there is an element of that. I mean, the idea of Obama supporting Beto, who has not, run for dog catcher.
But what is Beto's real name?
I think it's like John Smith.
Robert Francis.
Yeah, it's Bob, yeah. But it's not exotic enough for the...
Robert Francis.
Yeah, no. He's
not intersectional enough.
Yeah,
Robert
they're looking for something more intersectional. I know. It's like, they'd like a Muslim, a transgender candidate, but they're going to have to make do with Joe Biden. And I think that's the problem with Biden is it's not Obama's fault any more than it was last time. You can't do this sort of Hamlet on the battlements. I'd like to run if you want me to run. People who want to be president, get out there and run and become president.
Do you think he will?
I don't think so. I think they will go for a geezer candidate. this time. Yeah, I think so. I think
like Bernie Sanders. Does Bernie Sanders have a Beto problem?
Like Bernie. I understand because I live way up in northern New England, and Bernie has the booth behind me at the local. I'm being serious here, at the local restaurant, and he's minded to run, and this, you know, it's his moment. He was a callow young youth of like 89, I think, last time, but now he's got a bit more experience. I think.
Well, out of the 40 million people running for president on the Democratic side, there's one person that Democrats desperately don't want to run, and that is Hillary Clinton. There's a new USA Today poll showing 70% of people say, Democrats, not people, Democrats specifically, don't think she should run for president. Now, to her credit, she said she doesn't want to campaign. She just wants to be president.
Yeah, I think that was actually the way she ran last time, and the time before, in fact. She's basically running as a sort of hereditary candidate, and I think third time's the charm. She's had some focus groups done saying that people would be more comfortable with her being an authentic Hillary. So she's actually in training to find out what the authentic Hillary is.
So we can find her at the Beyonce
and I think it might pay off. The third time's the charm. I think go for it. Yeah.
In training to be authentic. Yeah. You don't need that training. You're going to be guest hosting Tucker tonight, right?
Yeah. It's just. I mean, don't you find it terrible when you switch on the TV and there's like guest hosts everywhere? It's just like.
What's up with that?